8 well-known pastors and leaders of the church have officially come out with a joint statement declaring Mike Bickle unfit and officially disqualified from the ministry. Now, with this news, guys, if you don't know what's happening, I've made a few videos talking about this whole situation and the allegations against Mike Bickle, but briefly, I'll give you an update. So with Mike Bickle, back in December 12th of 2023, he stepped down from being the pastor of IHOP KC due to an allegation of a woman coming out speaking against him, saying she was sexually groomed and abused by him. Now, since he stepped down, more women, 2 more women have come out and spoken against Mike Bickle, saying they've gone through the same sexual grooming and sexual abuse with him as well. And so now we have a total of 3 women who are credible in their sources, the allegations. These are not just falsified things. There's an independent firm going through this process. But the most recent update is these 8 well-known pastors and leaders who have officially declared Mike Bickle permanently banned from being in a ministry role. Now, what do we do with this? How do we handle this? We'll get to the statement here in a minute, but I do want to go to the scriptures to help give us clarity on what the qualifications are for an overseer, a bishop, or a bishop known as also a pastor of a church. So with that, guys, in 1 Timothy chapter 3, it says this: "This is a faithful saying. If a man desires the position of a bishop or pastor, he desires a good work. A bishop then must be blameless and husband of one wife, temperate, sober-minded, of good behavior, hospitable, able to teach, not given to wine, not violent, not greedy for money, but gentle, not quarrelsome, not covetousness, one who rules his own house well, having his children in submission with all reverence. For if a man does not know how to rule his own house, how will he take care of the church of God? Not a novice, lest being puffed up with pride, he fall into the same condemnation as the devil. Moreover, if he must have a good testimony among those who are outside, lest he fall into reproach and the snare of the devil." Now, this lists out the qualifications. This is what a pastor of a church should reflect and look like. Now, since Mike Bickle has failed in that aspect and has not reached these qualifications due to past sexual abuse and grooming that he did with females, he is officially disqualified from the ministry. Now, these 8 men laid down their reasoning why they came together in this statement, and they made it very clear. There are 6 reasons why they've come together and also agreed upon saying he is officially, permanently disqualified from being in a ministry role. One of them, I'll go through right here. The first one, we have reviewed the testimony of Jane Doe and found it to be credible. IHOP KC has also admitted to its validity. Number 2, we have reviewed the testimony of Tammy Woods and found it to be credible, and Mike Bickle has not issued a denial of this testimony. Number 3, the investigation conducted by Rosie McMayer of the Lathrop GMP law firm for IHOP KC has confirmed some of the allegations. Number 4, Mike has publicly admitted to some of the allegations, at least in part, in a general and non-specific sense. Number 5, some members of his team have personally attempted to approach Mike to ask for a full disclosure, but at present, after several attempts, he has not agreed to meet, nor has he categorically denied the growing number of charges coming against him. And lastly, some members of his team have been deeply involved in meetings with leaders of both the advocacy group of IHOP KC leadership to hear their hearts and concerns. Guys, nobody gets joy from news like this. Nobody gets joy from hearing that a pastor has fallen into deep sexual abuse, sexual sin towards other people in the church. Nobody gets joy from this. What we all should be doing is lifting up the victims and everybody involved in prayer. And we should be praying that pastors and leaders that would come into any church would have this passion and zeal truly for Christ, his scriptures, and that they would keep accountability partners around them to avoid any type of stumbling blocks that could come their way. And it doesn't just have to be with sexual abuse. We've seen it with pastors with drugs, alcohol. We've seen it with other things, money fraud, taking money that's not theirs. We've seen it in different areas of the church happen over and over and over again. And of course, people are going to bash the church. And of course, people are going to have their issues and say, this is why I'm not a Christian. You guys are a bunch of hypocrites. And of course, people are going to have a bad taste in their mouth when things like this, when stories like this come out. But it gives nobody any joy, or it shouldn't give anybody any joy with these stories coming out. It should just break our hearts and cause us to go into prayer, cause us to seek the Lord and pray that men would be lifted up to be pastors of churches who would be wise, who would be willing to have accountabilities around them so that they don't find themselves in similar situations.